And I greet you all. Hello, Dwayne, Ava, and all the new friends from around the world. And I shall start with passing the mic over to Peter.
Right. Hello again, everybody. Right, just a couple of dreams today. First one concerns me being in a large town centre, which I didn't recognise at the time. But there were lots of shops and roads going off in all directions. I don't know if you can hear, we've got a grandson here at the moment, and we hear him in the background. I was with Gwen and Gary. It seemed as though we were on a typical holiday in a strange town, and my attention was diverted by a shop which I was looking in the window of. When I turned to come away, Gwen and Gary, Gary's my eldest boy, by the way, had disappeared. I couldn't see them anywhere. So I walked down various different streets trying to find them, but there was no sign of them whatsoever. Now, we'd come by car, but for some reason in the dream I seemed to think they might have taken the bus back. So I started asking people where the bus stops were, particularly for the town we were staying in, but nobody was very much help. So in the end I found myself sitting down next to a bunch of yobbos. One nearest to me appeared to be asleep on a bench of some sort. He started to roll off, so I grabbed him by the shoulders to stop him falling. And then he woke up and was quite belligerent, as if he thought I was trying to rob him or something. The scene changed, but it's all part of the same dream. I seem to be wandering about inside different buildings and shop rear entrances, etc., but looking sort of hopelessly. But after that, it sort of went hazy, and that was the end of it. I'll have to briefly discuss this one with Kevin, and sort of made the point that maybe it indicated that I was sort of leaving Gwen and Gary behind in the sort of scheme of things, but I don't know whether that's right or not. Perhaps Dwayne could enlighten us on this one, please.
And from the car, which is like your personal idea of things, or with your personal self, then you're going to the bus stop. And this basically many times is where the boys, this is the idea they use, the bus, where people are waiting for the bus, and all of a sudden the bus arrives. You're no longer using your own determination, but the bus driver is the guide. And so you're waiting for the bus, and in the meantime you're roaming around looking at things. So when you're ready, the bus will arrive and pick you up, because see, the bus driver determines, he becomes the guide. He's going to decide where you're going to go, more so than you decide. It's along those lines, but you're just exploring, and you decide. Yeah.
Right. Unfortunately, we didn't see a bus driver. This is the thing. There was no bus.
Oh, I thought you said you were waiting for the bus.
Yeah. Well, I was looking for the bus stops, but I didn't find any. Nobody didn't know where they were, and I didn't see a bus all throughout the dream at all. I don't know.
Oh, well, that's the idea, because again, just like people don't know where we are, they don't know what you're talking about. So that's the idea of the bus and the bus driver. So in the meantime, you're whatever. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Well, this next dream I only had actually last night. So it's quite fresh off the printing presses, as it were. I was in a street, and suddenly aware of next to me there was a woman I didn't know standing, and she got a washing machine with her. It's another unusual one, not the usual sort of square thing. It was a sort of circular thing, but there seemed to be something wrong with it anyway. I don't know whether it was jammed or something, and I opened the circular lid on it, and it appeared to be full of rubbish, including cigarette packets and God knows what else, and sort of moved it about a bit and could see some clothing underneath the rubbish. Now there was this about 2-inch diameter hole to the side of the lid, and I found myself, I've got some sort of white powder in a bag, and I was tipping it into this hole, and half of it was going on the ground and everything all over the place, spilling about. And that's where that scene changed and moved to another scene in the same dream. This time I was in the house of one of my clients, one of my best clients actually, on the physical side, I should say. Who I knew from there, but although in the dream he looked quite different to what he does here, if that's of any relevance. But and I found myself trying to fix some electrical device low down on one of the walls of his house. It was a screwdriver. I was fiddling and faffing about, didn't really know what I was doing. Meantime, the client was standing there off to the left, and he got in his hand 2 or 3 bright purple coloured, what looked like banknotes or similar, and he was thanking me for finding them or saving them the money or some such. And that was the end of that one, and we couldn't make a lot of this one either, so I'm afraid we're in your hands again on this one.
What you're aware of, or deciding whatever. Again, you're the decider, so it all goes off your intent. If you're not, just like in your personal life, if you don't have an intent for something, then you're just doing your everyday routines, aren't you? And so take a look at that. What is your intent with everything? So at the same time, you're meeting people. We all are. I do it too. You meet people on the real side, and you're going through situations, and you decide how you're going to wake up, and all these little things add up. But after a while, you recognize them. But that's all. You're just doing whatever.
Oh, right, okay.
Mm-hmm. Just like everybody else there. They didn't stop for him, did they? They don't know who he is. And so, again, you decide.
Well, I didn't stop. I stopped before I saw his face. It was after I stopped that he turned his face and looked at me. So I didn't. Well, I didn't stop because I thought it was Rebisar. I'd stopped because I thought it's just some poor devil stuck in the middle of the road. But anyway, okay, fair enough. That's me done then for this week. I'll pass you back to Kevin.
Okay, and if you're there, Pearce, would you like to proceed?
Hi, Kevin. Hi, everybody. I've got no experience to share as such this week. I've got 2 my daughter she had, but I've got some weirdness to share. I thought it was a bit, I think it's a bit weird. Obviously, it's to do me awareness, but it happened a while ago now. I think actually it was a good few months ago. It was just some weirdness. I was driving over to drop my wife over at Bingo on a Wednesday. It was the Wednesday before Christmas, and it's been bugging me a while. But I'd actually seen it. It was raining, but it wasn't very far away from me. My windscreen. I actually seen it in the air, and it was a pterodactyl. The first time I seen it, I thought, wow. And like, I looked at my wife and I said, "What's that up there?" She says, "I don't know." And it just as I seen it, it kind of like it was coming at my windscreen. If you get my drift, like an animal would be like a bird or something had come down and maybe attack your windscreen or hit your windscreen. But this was like, it looked like it wanted to attack it. Like its feet were positioned to like hit the windscreen, but it was probably 10 foot above me as I was driving. And I was probably doing 50 miles, 60 miles an hour on the road. And yeah, that was some weirdness. But I know I've seen it because I asked my wife when I got to my sister's house before the bingo. I says, "Oh, what did you see, babe?" And she said, "Oh," she just said it exactly what I said. "Oh yeah, it was a pterodactyl. Looked like a pterodactyl." Neither of us could believe it. And then last week, get them dogs out there, babe. Last week was some right weirdness. I was getting like really static through the week every time I was touching stuff and, touching metal, even at shopping trolley, car door, anything. I'd be getting like a big shock, electric shock, static. But one occurrence, I told Kevin about it. I think it was on last Sunday night. I was pulling my kitchen door to, and it was quiet in the house. It was really quiet. It was about 10:30, 11 o'clock. And as my fingers was leaving the door, I actually heard, you know, the electric, like the crackling and it's like, it was more than static. It was like actual crackling. It was well weird. Yeah, and that was some weirdness. And then I've had 2 occasions where my mobile phone, where both me and my wife has like been witness to it, and it's like there's no other sound. One of them was where I'm stood now, and one of them was when I was in the garden. And it's like a door on a really rusty hinge is being closed shut, and it's like, and that's some weirdness. And that I've heard that come out of my mobile phone twice. Well, that's just some general weirdness that I've had going off since I've becoming more aware. But Mia's had 2 experiences. One of them was very similar to mine, where I was in the dungeon the other week and viewing some beings. But she said she was straight at like a big wooden door, and she was looking because the door had an opening with bars on, and she looked and she said there was a figure in a robe. She didn't see what it was or who it was. She said it was really tall and big. It was in a corner. And then she blinked, and then the next time she opened her eyes, the like at the door, the hole in the door was just like a massive big red eye. She said it was huge. It was filled up the whole gap of the door. Like if you imagine there's a hole in the door, dungeon door or something. And she said it filled up the whole door. This big red eye. And then after that, a few nights later, she said she had one where she was surfing on clouds on a golden surfboard. Yeah, and she heard the new sound, and then that was it. And that's all I've got to share this week. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Dwayne.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Pearce. Thank you.